So that would cover all the mesh tools. Now operations, we're gonna have a few things in here to talk about. Now next tool is gonna show you which faces, right? I mean, where these faces are located on the UV display. So if you go to UV editing, you can see them here, right? The same faces basically gonna be displayed for you to see where they're located on this UV grid. All right, so that's what this tool is for. Now, next one is going to be the same one as you have here on the operations polygon debug. It's the same thing in here, so there's not much really to talk about. There you go, that's the tool. If you run it, it's going to show you, where the quads are, where the triangles are. And it's, like I said, it's dynamic, so it's going to update, dynamically when we're going to create n-gons and such here. Snap cursor. Well, this one is also useless because it's going to move a cursor to a face. Why is it useless? Because you can do it with machine tools and do it better. Why you can do it better? Because HardOPS will not align the cursor to the curvature or to the rotation or normals of the face, okay? So if I'm going to move the cube back here and, chamfer this face, watch. See, the cursor orientation follows the follows the global orientation of the Y, Z, and X. And if I'm going to snap cursor to the face, it's going to snap all right, but the orientation stays true to the world, and this doesn't really help me when I want to run a mirror based off of cursor, for example, right? But if I do this with machine tools, it's going by default, right? Change the cursor orientation to the orientation of the normals of the face. So if I'm going to move it, boom, right? And now this mirror, cursor based, will work as intended, especially if I'm going to change the pivot to cursor, boom. See what I mean? So that's way more useful and way quicker because all you need to do is simply press Shift S. And if you want this option to work, again, remember to enable all the pie menus and tools in machine tools, right? I got 2 massive videos on machine tools on my YouTube. If you need some education and need some training on that, go ahead and watch them. All right, cool. Now let's continue here and we're gonna talk about the display marks. This is gonna display toggle on and off the marked edges. So if I'm gonna mark them and we have set it to seams, so you're gonna see red edges. I can basically toggle them on and off here. So I can go here to display marks and I can untoggle them temporarily, but they're still there, okay? So, just be careful, right? It's just an overlay. So it doesn't remove them, it just toggles them, right? The display. Adjust bevel weight, it's going to adjust the bevel weight again. So, if you have a bevel that runs on weight, so let's go to Control tilde menu and set it to B weight, right? And we're gonna mark this edge with B weight and then run a bevel. Actually run a bevel here like this, based on weight, okay? So it runs only on these 3 edges. You can go here to, edit mode and go to operations, right? And you can adjust the weight, but I need to select the edges. So go here and adjust the bevel weight. There you go, and it's going to adjust the bevel weight. So it's not adjusting the bevel width or amount. Remember, it's adjusting the bevel weight. So let me just turn it off again here, right? So watch, right? See that? It adjusts the weight. So mean bevel weight, not the bevel itself, right? So that's what it's for. Okay, cool. Next one. This one will remove all the markings from the edges. This could be useful in one specific scenario, and I'll tell you which scenario, okay? Let's say you have 3 markings running on your edges and you're going to apply them here, sharpen, and then you're going to change it to just seam, right? Now, if you're going to have a seam only selected over there, even if you unmark them, it's going to remove the seams, but it's not going to remove other edges because you're going to reapply the seam, right? So if I'm going to now unseam this, go to edge and then clear seam, you see, I still have these markings. So the bevel weight, right, this one, and crease is still running on my mesh. I just remove seam because that's what the mark is now set to. So with this denote, right, what you can do, you can remove all of them. So you go here and you click on the note that this is going to nuke all of them, but for some weird reason, it's going to leave the sharp edges. So you have to click on this and go here and clear sharp. So, you know, it's a bit annoying, but that's how it works. Next tool we're going to be talking about is going to be spin. And this one is quite useful when you do something like tires, for example. Let's just nuke this, the verts here. Let's move the origin point to geometry and geometry to cursor. And we're going to move it up a bit. And I'm going to go to edit mode, select this edge and subdivide it and press Shift R to repeat that. And I'm going to grab these and move them up a bit. So GZ, you know, to create a bit of an arc here. Maybe this one a bit too, okay? And I'm going to grab this one and create some profile, okay? So maybe go like this and then, you know, go down like that and maybe go inside, you know, and, you know, I don't know, like this, okay? And then Alt X, and I'm going to mirror it to the other side. And I'm going to apply the mirror, right? And now we can spin it. Let's just move it a little bit higher. So now go to edit mode, select everything, Q, and spin. Now this looks like a mess, but don't worry, we'll fix it. So you got this menu here. And now you need to think. We're going to be spinning this around x-axis. So we need to set x to 1 and the other axis to 0, okay? Okay, so that looks better. And now we need to change the number of these spins, I mean the segments. So you can do it here, set it to, I don't know, 40 or something, right? And let's see, that will do. And we also need to fix the, you know, the flip geometry. But before you click off, make sure you're gonna click the auto match, although it doesn't really work as intended, because if I click off of it, maybe it does, let me see. Actually it did match, okay, fine. So let's select everything and Alt N and recalculate outside. And there you go, that just spins geometry. Now Control 2 for subdivision. And there you go, see? It didn't merge actually after all. This is not merged. There are two edges here. Boom, there you go. So press 3 with machine tools and this is going to fix it. So the merge tool from HardOPS doesn't really work, okay? And, you know, so just pay attention here. By the way, you can clean it very easily with machine tools. So there you go. And let's go back to, you know, to this solid view and let's just smooth it, right? And you can keep modeling this, like for example, you can add more modifiers, like for instance, solidify, right? You can move it inside, you can stack it with a bevel on top of it, boom, right? And you know, HardOPS is going to sort these modifiers for you automatically. So there you go, that's spin modifier, very useful again for creating tires. And if you're going to combine this, right, just as a tip I can give you, with array modifier. So let's say I wanted to create some, you know, tire grooves or whatever it's called, right? So let's say I'm gonna move this in here, and you know, I'm just gonna grab one, okay? Oh, fine. Let's just, you know, let's just have some fun, okay? So let's do this, and maybe I don't know, let's do something like this, okay? And you know, make it smaller. So XX, there we go, and put it in here like this, right? And we're going to combine them, so Control J to one object and Shift S and two geometry. And we're going to spin it around. Now we need to apply the rotation, because if I'm going to go to radial array, it will not really work very well, okay? They rotate it. So Control A, apply rotation, and I'm losing my voice again. And here we're going to go to array, right? Mesh tools, Control, click on array and X. And there you go, that you know, that's how you can create your tires, yeah? Obviously, you know, that's not the best groove ever, but you know what I mean? That's how you can do this very easily, okay? So there you go. Two rope, this one is interesting. So let me just grab a plane, and I'm going to Shift 1 this, which is gonna collapse all the verts and merge them in the middle. Again, it's machine tools. Machine tools is one of the most powerful add-ons for hard surface, and if you're not using it, you're fired. I'm serious. So, you know, get machine tools, don't mess about. Let me create something like this, and I'm going to simply select it in edit mode. So edit mode, select everything Q, and operations and two row. Now, if you want to adjust this, you need to go into modifiers, which may cause heart attacks, because, you know, that's a lot of modifiers. All these modifiers make this rope, right? So you can adjust the thickness and, you know, and whatnot, right? Now, if you want to make it a bit longer, it's going to be a bit tricky, because what you need to do is you need to get this, this curve here, right? So this one, which is a bit busted to select. And this one is a curve. It's not really, let me go to local view. It's not a mesh, it's a curve. So if you wanted to, for example, create this kind of a curve here, it's going to be a little bit difficult, right? So, even if you're going to select this and extrude it, you can't really bevel this because, again, it's a curve. Well, I cannot select this. What's going on here? There we go. Control B, I can't do it, right? So what you want to do, you want to convert it into mesh. So Control A, visual to mesh, grab this bit, then bevel it. What the hell is this? Vertices, there we go. Wait, what's this going on here? Just connected, there we go. Cool. And then you want to go back to edit mode, right? Select everything, Q, and operations to rope, and Bob's your uncle, right? So that's how you do it, okay? A bit annoying, but there you go. I mean, look, creating this rope would be an absolute, tongue twister in Blender Vanilla. So this is actually a really, really cool, I would say, starting point, especially when you want to run some ropes. So all you need to do is create basically, a network of, the shape of this rope, and then just simply run this and you're good to go. Next one is going to be, let me see, 2-thread. Well, this is interesting, and actually, again, Machine Tools has the same tool. And in this case, I actually think HardOPS is better. So let me show you. What you want to do is you want to select a cylinder at the side faces, and you want to go here and 2-thread, which is going to create a dynamic thread here. You can move your mouse and use the H menu to adjust like a root, for example, which is pretty cool. You can, adjust the crust, then the taper, right, with T. And so you see this ending here, which is pretty cool, right? This has a lot of, options. Machine Tools, you have to do it manually. So if you select this and you have thread enabled, you have to enable, again, Machine Tools comes with all stuff disabled. Don't ask me why, ask Machine. But it does. So if you go here, you have to enable thread, okay? Once you do, right click and thread, and you got all the controls here, which are not as intuitive as HardOPS, because HardOPS can, you can do it dynamically. I prefer the HardOPS tool. So, again, if you want to create a thread, don't do it manually, be smart, use add-ons, okay? So that's what this tool is for. Next one, let me just grab a cube, is gonna be edge length. Well, this one's gonna basically change the length of the edge. So, there you go. That's what it's gonna do. If you need it, use it. I would just simply, move a vert, but call me orthodox, okay? But anyway, that's it. Next one's gonna be mesh tools, and we discussed them. It's a great NARP, panel and panel. Basically the same as the tools here under EM macro, so there's no point of talking about this. We already discussed them, okay? Now, Star Connect, that's where we going back to the, stuff I told you about in the beginning of this course when I said that if you have other add-ons enabled with HardOPS, you can use them from HardOPS menu. So Star Connect is an interesting tool that now, by the way, is redundant because we have Ensolve, and Ensolve is way more powerful than this one. In fact, I might actually show you here. Now, if you don't have Mesh Machine installed, you will not be even seeing this option. But if you select these verts and then shift select this one, and you're gonna go to Q menu and Star Connect, that's gonna happen, okay? Now let me see if I have actually Ensolve enabled in here. Not this Blender, I think I have it in 4.3. I want to actually show you this because this tool is actually quite interesting. So Ensolve, there we go. Let me just pop it in. And Ensolve is only visible in edit mode. You need to turn off box cutter because it has the same menu, D menu, okay? So now let me just enable Ensolve here and then go to edit mode. And then when you're gonna press D, you're gonna see we can enable N Suite, and we're going to hold S. Whoa, come on. Hold S and make this a little bit bigger so we can see and move it in here. That one is N Suite. It's a little bit fiddly, but once you set it up, it's pretty good. And there's a tool here that allows you to connect multiple edges, which is called Join, which is, wait a minute, which one was it? Join, this one. So if I'm gonna go to D menu and go to NSolve and select this multi-join, which is here, watch this, I can select them and drag them. It's much faster, you see that? So again, this add-on, okay, get it, because if you're gonna be working retopologizing mesh, this is the best tool to do it with, okay? It also has tools that are absolutely unbelievable. Like for example, there is a tool that allows you to create impossible bevels. So if I have this, you know, these loops here, I can't really run a bevel, right? Because this loop is blocking me from doing it. Again, NSolve, you have this hard bevel tool, which will allow you to do this. I mean, is this crazy or what? It's just literally eating geometry, and you got no shading problems at all. So, you know, some of the tools in this add-on redefine logic and common sense and are, you know, verging on some dark sorcery. There's also an NFlow add-on that comes with it, because you got the NSolve add-on includes NSolve and Suite, which is both of these on the bottom here. So these two, one of them is NSolve, one is NSuite. I never remember which one is which, but there's also NFlow, okay? This one, NFlow on the top. And NFlow is for actually running topology on top of your mesh. So when you know, have, for example, a sculpture or something, and you're gonna be retopologizing on top of your mesh, right? So creating an overlay with topology, that's what this tool is for. I don't know if it's better than Retopoflow 3, probably not, but for retopologizing, you know, topology on a hard mesh and changing it from n-gon based to quad based, NSolve and NSuite are fantastic. So, you know, again, get these, and they are far more superior than this, where was it? This one, edit multi-tool bullshit, okay? So there you go. A bit of a longer explanation, but I hope it's gonna help you out, okay? Choosing tools, right? Next one is plugin, and you need to have other add-ons enabled for this to, you know, show other options. If I'm gonna run 4.0, situation probably gonna be a little bit different. So let's see. Let's go to Mesh Tools in Cube, because I have more add-ons enabled in 4.0. So let's go here and let's go to operations and plugin, and there you go. We have Mira Tools, which is a free add-on. You can get it on GitHub. Mira Tools is fantastic for running curves based on verts. This is what I'm usually using it for. That's Mira Tools, and I use a C-stretch or curve stretch, whatever. And you can run curves on, let me just select the one side only, there you go. You can run curves, determine the amount of points you want to have, let's say 3, and you can do stuff like this, okay? Which is pretty cool. This is fantastic, for example, for fixing bevels that are wonky. If you combine this one together with the space tool from Loop Tools, you can do some serious damage and fix bevels that are completely messed up, okay? So you see I can access Mesh Machine here directly from the menu in 4.0, because my Mesh Machine is actually plugged in. Now there's no point of doing this, because the Mesh Machine menu is exactly the same when you press Y, so there's no point of, you know, going in from here. But, you know, if you want to, you can. So there you go. Now this one is Clean Mesh, which is exactly the same as this one. So you can use it either in edit mode or in object mode, it doesn't matter. Next one's gonna be this one, Flatten tool, which is going to flatten your geometry. So let's say you got this plane here like this, and you want to flatten it. Shift click the plane you want to flatten to, and you go here and you can scroll your mouse to choose a different option. If you have nothing selected, so you don't have a reference, you know, plane or mesh, you just select the mesh you want to affect. It's gonna behave a bit differently. So here, flatten, and boom, right? It's gonna flatten itself. So instead of going up, it's gonna go down, right? You got some other options here. You know, you can obviously change axes. You can snap to the cursor. You can do all kinds of stuff. I still would prefer, you know, machine tools, because you see when you go to Alt A, you not only have this pie menu, but you also have this axis menu, okay, which is crazy, and you can do all kinds of insane stuff with it based on the pie. So again, machine tools is far more superior version of this HardOPS flatten tool. So if you master this pie menu, you're gonna be a god of aligning, right? And if you're going to combine this with the alignment tool from Machine Tools that I showed you a little bit earlier, you know, when you select the mesh and go to Alt-A, I mean, you're seriously dangerous. You can align your mom to the moon if you want, okay? That's how powerful this tool is. And for the third time, I got two massive videos on Machine Tools on my channel, so I'm gonna just show you the thumbnails here on a screen, and you go ahead and watch them and you will know how to use this tool. I discuss Align in depth because I really use this tool a lot and I think it's absolutely brilliant. Okay, so again, you know, it's there, but it's just kind of, you know, meh. Control click is going to obviously give you the align tool. Now that's the same tool as this one. So if you go to, you know, object view and go to mesh tools and go to this mod scroll, and here that's the tool. It's the same tool. This one is actually quite powerful, and not gonna lie, I use it quite a lot when I'm aligning to specific faces. So when I want to align my view to a face, not a face itself, that's when I'm gonna be using HardOPS. When I want to align a face, then I'm gonna be using Machine Tools. Okay? And if you go to Shift, you're gonna select this, you know, this Select tool, which again, I would suggest using just W and Blender and, you know, and Mesh Machine, because I think it's far superior to this and less fiddly. But, you know, if you prefer this, you can use this one. So that's that. And booleans, we already discussed them. We talked about selection to boolean, which is basically, you know, selecting the faces and then using them as a boolean, which is bloody brilliant. I really like this tool. It's such a cool tool, right? And, you know, in vanilla Blender, this would be absolute bastard because you would need to, you know, you would need to insert these faces. They would need to duplicate them. They would need to clean the insert. It's so much work, you know, because when you do this, then you will need to, you know, Shift D this, and you will need to make sure that this is Shift D, you know, based on the average normals of this entire shape. So you can then bring it back in. Then you will need to go in and clean this up. It's so much work, right? So this is so much better and faster to work with. This is a brilliant, brilliant tool. Now, booleans here, I wouldn't really use them in edit mode. I would suggest you use box cutter. They don't really work very well in edit mode. I can show you. So let's say I have, let me just nuke this cube, right? So if I cube here and here, I'm gonna select them and go to edit mode and try to go to booleans and difference. I mean, you know what I mean? It's just, it's difficult to work like this. Even if I select specific faces, right? So like this and go to boolean difference, and then let me just see this. We don't even have any modifiers. I don't think it's working properly. So just use it in object mode. Even if you want to cut in edit mode, remember that you can always use box cutter, and it's far, far more superior because it's very accurate. So forget about this one, except for, you know, this selection to boolean, which is really bloody good. This one is the Alt-M menu. It's a separate menu. We're going to be talking about it later on in a different video. It's a super cool menu for adding BSDF maps to your models. Asset loader, again, we discussed this in the Q menu. It's the same thing, right? So we already talked about it. And the last one here is favorites, which is exactly the same as this one in object view. We talked about it as well. So this would cover, I know it's a long video, but you know, we covered entire Q menu in edit view, and this would cover the Q menu bonanza, right? Now we're gonna be moving to Alt V menu, then Alt M menu, and also Control tilde menu, and that will more or less, you know, wrap up the essential of HardOPS. Now I would still want to discuss briefly in one of the last videos, maybe you know, in this section, briefly this bar here on the top, because even though some of these options are super advanced and you're probably not gonna be using them, I want to show you a few tricks that I think you'll find useful, especially when you're going to be working with curves and arrays, okay? You can do stuff like arraying around curves, which in vanilla Blender is absolutely disgusting, okay? I mean, arraying along the curves in vanilla Blender is so goddamn annoying. It's epic, right? And HardOPS makes it into a bloody joke. So it's really important I show you this. Not everything, mind you, but you know, the gist of it and the most important stuff. Anyway, that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.